Okay, to start off the gearing guide, I'll talk about my set bonus and my tactical. So my set bonus is the Gathering Storm. The 4-piece basically increases the next force ability that you use by 20% whenever you use force speed. And then your 6-piece set bonus increases the duration of polarity shift, and each time you use force speed decreases the cooldown of polarity shift. For my tactical, this is the recommended tactical for single targets in PvE. As for amplifiers, you want to be going for force sensitivity. So the force sensitivity can be obtained for your armorings, and then as well for amplified pieces. Your Gathering Storm, the shells, you can't do force sensitivity, so just focus on armorings for those, as well as the hilt, so it's all around force sensitivity. Okay, with accuracy, in PvE you need a minimum of 110% accuracy. This amounts to 1590 rating, accuracy rating. And how I achieve this is basically using my earpieces and implants as accuracy, along with 1 accuracy augment. And lastly, I will use an accuracy stim. In PvP, you do not require any form of accuracy. So because all the abilities are force damage, so I can swap out my accuracy earpiece and implants for my crit and alacrity. And I can also use my power and mastery stim in PvP. Okay, when it comes to alacrity, you first have to, I'm sure everybody knows by now what GCD is. If you have no idea what GCD means, basically it prevents you from spamming abilities concurrently. So all these abilities have GCDs, and then there's some abilities that do not have GCD, like Cloud Mine, Polarity Shift, Recklessness, all these. But as you can see on the screen, these are the GCD windows for different percentages. And the thing with Lightning Stork, you should be, with your regular rotation, you should be hitting a 1.3 GCD. And then when you pop your polarity shift, that increases your alacrity by 20%. You will have, you'll be hitting 1.1 GCD. So in order to hit these numbers, you will need 11.39% alacrity for in PvE. So with my gear, I am only sitting at 1.06% alacrity. I'm getting an additional 5% alacrity from the guild set bonus. So 6.39 by plus 5%, that'll put me at 11.39%. And then additional 5% will come from your rotation, where basically your lightning strike will increase your alacrity by 1% up to 5%. So an additional 5% will put you in having a 16.39% alacrity. And then when you pop, so that's a 1.3 GCD, and then when you pop polarity shift, that gives you additional 20%. So that puts you at 36.39% alacrity, which will put you at a 1.1 GCD. As for your mods, you want to be going for anything which is a little superior mod ADR 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1. So anything between 1 to 5 basically. You want to be trying to hit as close to 10k power as possible. However, if you are doing any form of level 70 content, mastery, endurance, and power do not matter. So don't bother trying to get unleaded, numbered mods. Same thing for enhancements. I try to go for enhancements or which have more power. So anything between 15 to 20. So I will show you here on the screen now the different mods and enhancements that you can get with more power and less of the tertiary stat, which is your critical or your alacrity or your accuracy. And then as for relics, if you are in level 70 content or in PvP, you want to be using Serendipitous Assault and Focus Retribution. But if you're doing any form of level 70 content, you want to be using Devastating Vengeance and Primeval Fate Sealer. Keep in mind that this is a click relic, so you'll need to activate it by clicking it in order for this to be used. As for augments, I have, like I said, 4 alacrity augments and then 1 accuracy augment for, and then the rest is basically critical. I do not run any mastery augments at all because this setup, your critical is already really low when you're trying to hit 1.3 GCD. Now, one thing that you need to note about doing this kind of setup is, of course, you'll lose the flagship bonus if you go into nightmare content or if you are going into PvP. So what I've done for my gear setup is basically that when I'm going into PvP, I will swap out my implants and earpieces. The reason being is you do not need accuracy in PvP. So with that, I will be, like I said, I'm now back at 11.49%, 46% without the skills and buffs bonus. And if I'm going to nightmare content, I'll be needing my accuracy again. So I have additional 2 more pieces for accuracy. So this is my gear setup for when I'm in nightmare content. Okay, so now we are on my starship. So I'll be using the training dummy and demonstrating the abilities. I'm gonna put on my gear which I would normally use for nightmare content. So in nightmare content, like I said, you will lose the 5% alacrity from the flagship bonus. So that is why I'll need to put on my... Oh, it's already on. Alright. Okay. So take a look at, this is what I mean that you'll lose your flagship bonus. So currently I have the flagship skills and buffs bonus from the flagship. So once I equip these modules, okay, that's the armor debuff, and then now the health modulator. As you can see, it will remove any active skill perks. So this is what you can expect. This is what you can expect in nightmare content. Okay, so when it comes to rotation, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. First things first, never do Thundering Blast without Affliction. So if you are going to be swapping targets, make sure that you reapply Thundering Blast, reapply Affliction on the target. Next thing is, once you apply Affliction, you will not need to reapply it again, because Chain Lightning will refresh Affliction. So I'll show it to you. See, just refreshed. Okay. Next thing is your Lightning Flash. So Lightning Flash will, along with your Tactical, will basically, whenever there's a dot, which is Affliction or Crushing Darkness, it will do additional damage. So you should be using Lightning Flash also off cooldown. So Affliction, Thundering Blast, Lightning Flash, and when you do Lightning Flash, this gets procced. This means that you can cast the ability with a reduced timer. So the cast was 1.33 seconds, or on without being procced, as you can see, it's 1.78. When you are using, when Crushing Darkness is on the target, this is the only time where you use Shock, because Shock does more damage on a target which is being affected by Crushing Darkness. The last ability that Lightning Bolt is your filler. So this is something that you will use when all your other abilities are off cooldown, that sort of thing. Force Speed will also give you 2 stacks of instant cast Lightning Bolt, and you also proc your Chain Lightning. Along with those abilities, you also have some other passives that you need to worry about. Your Polarity Shift, that will increase your cast, that will decrease your cast time. Your Recklessness, which will give you increase your critical chance. So the critical chance, as you can see, is increased by 60%. Currently my crit is at 38.66%. Not ideal. You should try to get to 40% minimum. And then you have your unlimited power, and you have your for me, I have my my adrenal. Before I talk about opening rotation, I will also bring up the set bonus again. So what happens with the set bonus, the 4P set bonus, when you pop your Force Speed, your next attack does increase damage. So you should always prioritize your Force Speed with either Thundering Blast or Lightning Flash. Do not waste this buff on your Chain Lightning, your Shock, or your Crushing Darkness. Speaking of wasting abilities, Vault Rush is not an ability that you should be using at any time during your rotation. Force Lightning is also not an ability that you should be using any time during your rotation. For Recklessness, you want to be using your Recklessness on either your Thundering Blast, your Lightning Flash, or your Chain Lightning. The reason why, one thing to note is when you have Affliction on the target, this is why it's important to have Affliction on the target. When you have Affliction on the target, all your Thundering Blasts are automatic crits. But however, if you have 100% crit, if you have 100% crit, there's such thing called a super crit, where your additional critical does not go to waste, that sort of thing. Super crit is something that's not really properly documented and defined on what abilities or what classes benefit from super crit. But that is one of the Lightning Storm and Thundering Blast is one of the abilities that can benefit from super crit, and that is why we also use Recklessness on Thundering Blast. Okay, I'm gonna give so now with the rotation, opening rotation, you want to start off with pre-casting a Force Storm away from the target, and then you hit Chain Lightning, apply Affliction, hit your buffs, hit Lightning Flash, Force Speed, Thundering Blast, Crushing Darkness, Chain Lightning, Shock, do Lightning Bolt till your ability is off cooldown, and then just follow a priority rotation. So to find out more about the priority rotation and opening rotations and stuff, please go and take a look at one of the guides which are found on Valk, or you can wait till later. I will also be having a video example of my rotation on a 3.25 mil dummy. So now that my abilities are, everything's off cooldown, I'll just give a quick show of the opening rotation. Okay, so this is the opening rotation for PvE. I'll later be going through the opening rotation for PvP. Okay, I'll stop there. So, like I said, a quick recap. I would precast my Chain Lightning, and I will put that on a, and then I'll apply Affliction. I'll hit all my other buffs while applying Lightning Flash, and then I'll Force Speed, Thundering Blast, quickly apply my Crushing Darkness, Chain Lightning, Shock, filler. As for, I'll wait for myself to get out of combat, and then I'll go through my opening rotation for PvP. Okay, with PvP, there is something that I first want to cover. My rotation normally requires, involves me placing my Crushing Darkness before my Thundering Blast. The reason why I do this is because Crushing Darkness will make the opponent vulnerable to force attacks, so that will increase the damage of my Thundering Blast. So when I am about to open up or rotate on somebody, I'll first do Lightning Flash. That will reduce the cooldown of my Crushing Darkness, and if I have my cooldown, if I have any of my other buffs, I'll pop them. Now quickly apply Affliction, Force Speed. So again, I will do it now with my other buffs. If you have unlimited power, also use it. It's available in war zones, not in arenas. So I'll wait to get out of combat first. Alright. Here goes. Remember, only use shock when crushing darkness is on target. If not, don't waste your time. And then if the target is running out of your range and like you don't want to use your force speed to instant cast chain lightning or anything, if you have to chase a target and you can't, the only your other abilities are on cooldown, you can spam your Vault Rush to try to finish off the target. But that's the only time I'll use Vault Rush in PvP, just to finish off a target who's like sitting at 5% health. Okay, now I'll talk about utilities. So with utilities, for PvE, these are utilities that you want to set. Set Defiance increases damage reduction by 3%. Tempest Mastery, Force Storm, and Empty Body to get increased healings. Next, this is the most important utility that you'll need in both PvP and PvE as Madness or as Lightning or even as a healer in PvP because it reduces the cooldown of force speed, and force speed is very important if you are running the Gathering Storm set bonus. Because, like I said, force speed will increase your next attack by 20%. So this is a must. There is no argument behind this. The next thing that I'll take is Suppression, or I would take Lightning Barrier. If you have a lot of AoE damage coming to you from the boss, Lightning Barrier is good because it will reflect some of that damage and increase your numbers. Then you can either pick between Dark Resilience or Suppression. So normally I'll normally take Dark Resilience, and I'll either take Suppression or Lightning Barrier depending on the fight. And then in your Heroic tier, you can use Unnatural Vigor. So this will give you damage reduction by 15% for 6 seconds. You should also take Shapeless Spirit because you'll reduce the AoE damage that you take, which you'll get a lot of in Ops. And then you should take Force Mobility. This is a must because you do not want to be in different Ops. You'll be forced to move around. You can't just sit stationary and DPS the boss. So it really sucks if you need to move while channeling a Thundering Blast. So these are the utilities for the set. To the left now you can see the utilities for the stage side. As for PvP, the utilities really does go to your how you want to do your playstyle, but I will tell you the most recommended utilities for PvP. for PvP, you want to be either using Sid Defiance, Tempest Mastery, Empty Body, Torture Statics, or reduce damage from periodic effects. For me, how I play mine is basically I will do Sid Defiance, I'll take Torture Statics, and I will take Empty Body. Or I might take Corrupted Flesh. I hardly sit there spamming Force Storm in PvP unless I have the tactical equipped, which is called Elemental Convection. That will basically change up your rotation, that sort of thing. So if you're using Elemental Convection, don't forget to take up this utility. Then I will take up Surging Speed, which is a must. I will take up Suppression, and I will take up Instant Cast Whirlwind. Sorry, over here. So basically, I will not be giving myself much of a heal from my Unnatural Preservation. I try to go for more damage reduction. So in Heroic, I take Immersion, making you break whatever roots there are on you. Unnatural Vigor, which is again the damage reduction, and then of course your Force ability for you to be able to move around quickly. The other DCDs that you will probably need to learn about are your Force Barrier, of course, like I said, your Whirlwind, and your Phase Swap. So your Force Barrier will allow you to ignore all forms of mechanics. So if there is some kind of raid-wide damage that can one-shot you, Force Barrier will definitely prevent you from getting killed. This is basically called the guard bubble for a reason. Next is your Phase Walk. Your Phase Walk will allow you to teleport back to your place where you put your Phase Walk. I will be showing you a video of how to play Phase Walk much better. There's even a utility in Phase Walk called Shifting Silhouettes, where basically if you use your Phase Walk, it prevents people from jumping to you. So this is mainly recommended for PvP. And also, of course, it reduces the cooldown of your Phase Walk.
guys do a lot of freaking damage.
Rockworm ball. Let's see if they can keep it.
You all have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Rockworm pass is good for a game.
Yeah, they're just sitting in mid, killing everything.
Yep. Oh, someone's actually trying to run the ball now.